Good morning and welcome back to our brand new show, Alliance Allies. Thank you all for joining us this morning. As some of you know, we have evolved the show from just sharing information with you all as community members to highlighting some of our closest important community members who are doing great work all over the catchment area that we serve. Today, we'll be highlighting some of those community members. While taking every effort to include all of our Fairfield County communities and those who do great work in them, the first show today will focus on Bridgeport. Before we hear from our guests today, I'd like to share some important reminders with everyone about some of our great community events coming up. As you may have heard, Alliance has partnered with some of our community leaders to have a census blitz this weekend. It is part of our Bridgeport United campaign that aims to increase the number of individuals and families who complete the U.S. Census. We all know how important it is to complete the census. Our blitz runs from Saturday to Monday and will span across 3 different events and 3 different locations across the city of Bridgeport. On Saturday, we will greet you at 935 Stratford Avenue. Oops, my pages are mixed up. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Sunday, the 27th, we will be in Trumbull Gardens at 715 Trumbull Avenue from noon to 2. And on Monday, our grand finale event will take part in the parking lot of New Hope Baptist Church from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a large food distribution and many other attractions. At each event, community leaders have focused on what their neighborhoods would find attractive in order to complete the census. A lot of false information have surfaced. We know the census is safe. We know the census needs to be completed in order for us to retain and receive the important federal resources that we need to thrive as a city. Now, please join us in viewing our U.S. Census video to remind ourselves of how important it is to complete the census. In Bridgeport, like in cities throughout the country, barren streets, neighborhoods devoid of the sound of playing children, and eerily quiet intersections make up the landscape. Downtown looks more like a ghost town, and everywhere the absence of people walking and talking is itself deafening. We know, however, that soon, as we've done before, after world wars, terrorist attacks, or great recessions, we have what it takes for a comeback. That comeback, however, is up to you. Your actions will determine in part whether Bridgeport gets the funding it needs for essential services from the federal government. Services such as childcare, affordable housing, and educational funding will be needed for our rebound. At some point today or tonight, with your newfound available time, as you sit at home, fill out your census form online, or mail it in, or use the available telephone number. Be counted, be heard. You, your family, and your city are depending on you to do your part, so Bridgeport gets the services it needs. Maybe then the images of desolate streets and shuttered businesses we have become unfortunately accustomed to will become just a memory. Because of you, we'll have the resources to support our resilient efforts. Those resources and spirited Bridgeporters, no doubt, will bring life, vitality, and productivity back into our city. We just want to remind community members that September 30th is the deadline for completing our census. So we want to take every effort to get to one of these Blitz events in our own neighborhoods and complete the census. You count. Today's episode of Alliance Allies focus on highlighting partners in Bridgeport who emphasize and empower youth through their time and dedication in their respective fields. You will be hearing today from 4 of our partners. Three of them are actually here in the studio with me. You'll be able to see them soon. And 1 you'll hear from a recorded message. In our studio today, we have Mr. John Torres of Bridgeport Caribe Youth Leaders. We have Mr. John Lett of Hip Hop 1001. And we have Mr. Harry Bell of Color a Positive Thought. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to an important member of our community, Mr. Ronald Jones. Mr. Jones is a math teacher at Reed School and couldn't be with us today because guess why? He's in the classroom. Mr. Jones is a dedicated educator, Bridgeport born and raised businessman, and takes pride and brings dignity to everything that he does. I'd like for you all to know that even I wish Mr. Jones was my math teacher because maybe I would be better at it today. Now, without any further ado, Mr. Ronald Jones.
Okay, my name is Ronald Jones. I am from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I lived here pretty much all my life. I am an 8th grade math teacher at Reed School. I've been teaching at Reed School for the past 17 years. However, I've been a teacher in Bridgeport for approximately 20 years. I started out at the high school level. My first 2 years teaching at Harding High, I was a long-term sub, and I eventually went back to school to get my teacher certification in math, and now I'm an 8th grade math teacher. Well, whenever I'm working with, the students, I try to get the most out of them. I try to make them feel that, that every student can be successful in their own way. You can always find something, to celebrate. So I try to find something, that the kids are good at, and then we run with it, because, if a kid wants to be successful, they have to feel successful. I think the biggest barrier for young people today is, being competitive in both, in this world when they become adults. So, we're always trying to, we always talk about making our students college ready, but we know, just to be honest, that college is not for everybody. So we need to have another way, because if they're not getting into college, what are they going to do, to make a living? So I think that we need to have an alternate route, whether it's, something like, I went to Bullet Havens and I took up a trade. So I always have something to fall back on, however, some of our students don't have that, and some of our students, to be honest, college is not for them. At the beginning of the year, we sat down with Senator Chris Murphy, and we talked about, other avenues besides going to college, and he wants to bring back other things, almost like trades, because I don't think every job out there you have to go to college for. So one thing I think the Alliance can help us with is we can probably do some type of job training that has nothing to do, so our students don't have to go to college for. We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need carpenters, we need all of these people out there, and I don't think that you need a college degree to do that. So maybe the Alliance can help with that type of training. Okay, like I said in the beginning, I am a math teacher. I've been teaching math for about 20 years. However, I can only, being a math teacher, I only reach about 90 to 100 students at a time. My short-term goals right now, like in the spring, I'm going to do my 092 certificate so that I can be an administrator, and at least that way I can reach more of the students in the school. But my ultimate goal is to be the director of math, so now that I can reach pretty much all of the youth in Bridgeport. Hopefully that is my goal. So if I can give one piece of advice to my younger self, I would tell myself, to always work hard. If you have a goal, never shortchange yourself. If you have a goal, you work towards that goal. All right. Just be a hard worker. All right. So that is my interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for your inspiring words. We'd also like to highlight that Mr. Jones logged over 30,000 minutes to his students during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring that there was not a lengthy gap in their educational journey while the schools were closed. Mr. Jones, we celebrate your dedication. We are happy that you are part of the Bridgeport school system, and we are happy that you're here educating our children and that you have dedicated even your future plans to continuing to educate our children here in Bridgeport. So now, without any further ado, we're going to move on to asking our guests in the studio some questions. These questions are designed so you can get to know our guests better and also get to know the programs that they will highlight that are open to youth all across the city of Bridgeport. They're going to talk a little bit about themselves, and they're also going to share some important information about how they make Bridgeport youth excited and a better place to grow up. So I'm going to start with Mr. John Torres. John, tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, my name is John Torres. I'm the Executive Director of the Bridgeport Caribe Youth Leaders. Born and raised here in Bridgeport. My brother and I co-founded Bridgeport Caribe Youth Leaders and started just as a baseball league. And today, we're a youth development organization. We serve over 700 kids annually via our sports, education, and community platform. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me here.
Mr. John Lett.
Thank you, Dr. Ferguson. My name is Jonathan Lett. I was born in Stamford, Connecticut, raised in Bridgeport. I'm a DJ. I'm also known as DJ JB1. And I'm also a family caseworker here at the Alliance. I've been doing that for 13 years. I've been coaching kids on and off basketball and baseball for the last 20, 25 years. And right now, I'm also the director of Hip Hop 1001. It's a hip hop program teaching kids the 5 elements of hip hop. And it's like a program that we started, and we're growing we're getting bigger. So I'm looking forward to just keep doing things in the city. But yes, it's my name, Jonathan Lett.
Thank you, Mr. Lett. Mr. Harry Bell.
Hello, how you doing? It's your boy, Mr. Color of Positive Thought. I am the curator of Color of Positive Thought coloring book. I'm also the president of the Color of Positive Thought organization. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I grew up in Trumbull Gardens, and I'm here for the youth.
Thank you, gentlemen. What's really, really exciting about this is we have a room full of dedicated young men willing to do anything for the Bridgeport youth. So, our next question, Mr. Harry Bell, please describe your passion for helping young people in your unique way.
I believe my passion stemmed from me being in their shoes and having a kid that's paired to the youth today.
Thank you, Harry. John Lett?
Yes, I'm sorry. What's the question again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Please describe your passion for helping young people in your unique way.
Well, I've been DJing since I was 17 years old, and it was really hard to become a DJ back then, especially we had to buy records $200-300 a week sometimes. So I said, you know what, even though I've been coaching kids in sports, I said, let's try something different, that my love, my passion, that helped me survive and stay off the streets, which is music and the hip hop industry, which is very, very serious now, you know, with a lot of the violence and stuff going on. So just try to give kids an example that, you know, hip hop is more than just violence, what they see, and sex, drugs, and so forth.
Mr. John Torres?
Yeah, so for me, it was my senior year in high school where I went to my science teacher and he asked me, you know, what I was doing after I graduated. I attended Bullet Havens like Mr. Jones, and I said, I'm going to college. And he looked at me and he told me straight up, he said, you know, you're not going to succeed in college because we don't prepare you. And for me, that was like a motivation to prove that gentleman wrong. And by the way, I never made honor roll in high school because I was like what you call someone that always wanted to be playing sports, basketball, baseball, whatever. However, I really focused at Housatonic, and I made Dean's List my first semester. And after that moment, I realized that, you know what, you can't let anyone tell you what you can't do. And I vowed that whenever I had the opportunity, whether it was in my community or in my career, to help others achieve their dreams, that's what I was going to do. And that's my passion here with the youth. I'm not going to tell them they can't do anything because, you know what, they're all gifted, they all have great skills. We just got to nourish them and put them in the right position.
And I have to say, gentlemen, that passion shines through with everything you do. Next question is, what do you think the biggest barrier is for young people today, and how can the Alliance help? I would like to start with Mr. Harry Bell.
I think for me, I think trust, letting our youth feel that it's okay to trust, because a lack of trust builds a wall of leave me alone. And the Alliance will be a huge help through partnershiping with organizations such as Hip Hop 101 and the Caribe League and myself, just for opportunities for our inner city youth.
Mr. Lett?
I feel the biggest barrier for the young people today is access to services and basically programs that they need. Me, for example, I've been in the music business for years. I've traveled so many places and I didn't have anybody to mentor me along the way. So I feel that if the children have access to services, for example, Harry Bell, if you could get into Trumbull Center and we have the hip hop program, we have Caribe basketball, we have mentoring, and the kids have access to the services, then I believe that will help out a lot. And one thing the Alliance can do is put us all together, you know, basically like you're doing now, Dr. Ferguson, that's a great thing. And just basically be able to build off of each other. I might learn something from Mr. Torres, learn something from Mr. Bell, and just basically bring our services because the kids don't have that. And of course, funding. We have to get the proper funding because, you know, a lot of people run away from money, but there's a lot of money out there allocated to the neighborhood and to the kids, and I just want them to be able to get that services and what they need because right now there's very limited services. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Mr. Lett. Mr. Torres?
Yeah, I agree with Harry and John. You know, if I could add to that, you know, one of the things that we've been blessed at Caribe is the fact that we have collaborated and partnered with a lot of different organizations because our kids need exposure. You know, I always say you can't blame someone that don't know what they don't know. And the fact is that, you know, by us collaborating and working together, I was just talking with John previously about exposing our kids to his program because they have this inherent skill of dancing, singing, rapping, poetry, and why not? Why not take advantage of that program? So, you know, what we want to do is really, I think, you know, it's all about what the Alliance is doing today here with us, is bringing us together. I think at times we build walls and we think that kids only belong to certain organizations and so forth. And for us, hey, there's 20,000 kids in grade school, high school to kindergarten. There's not enough of us to take care of every single one of them. So if we collaborate and we can share with each other, I think that will be very, very powerful. And I agree with Jonathan, funding, because without the funding, we cannot continue doing what we're doing.
So the Alliance hears you loud and clear. We are around for it. We are here for it. And we are definitely in the position to help all of us get together to touch all 20,000 of those children that Mr. Torres so eloquently spoke about. We have the power within us, and there's tons of other partners out there that we are poised and ready to join in with, and hopefully they're watching this broadcast and they know that there is a hub and a venue within the Alliance to help us all grow together, to help children grow healthy together in the city of Bridgeport. So now, really quickly, we just want to touch on a couple more questions with you all. It's been fun. What are your future goals for your programs? And just talk a little bit about your programs and then help everybody watching understand what your future goals are. I'm going to start again with you, Mr. Torres, if you don't mind.
Sure. So, you know, Caribe has evolved in our 17 years. Where we started with just baseball, and today we have so many different programs and activities for our kids. And the one thing that, as we look, is we're looking to, put our kids in a position where they learn new things. And we have a success program. We're reaching out to our graduates, our 18 to 26-year-old or even older a base in terms of here in the community to focus not on workforce development, but also digital training, where we're going to teach them the basics of utilizing a computer, because to get a job, everything is either online or even interviews are virtual today. So you have to be comfortable with that digital platform. So we currently are having that, and at the same time, we're gonna pay the participants a stipend up to $500 for being part of it. It's like a job, you know. We're orientating them on that, and we'll loan them a laptop if they need that. We want to give them the resources and the opportunities for them to succeed. So those are the things that we look at. As I look forward, thinking here, I agree with Mr. Jones, the teacher, indicated, and that is not every student wants to go to college. We've been blessed. We started a scholarship program that has produced 98 scholarship recipients, 18 are college graduates, 12 are first-time college graduates and their family. I'm very proud of that. However, there's so many that are not attending college. So our goal is threefold, and I'll be real quick. And this Success Point 2.0 digital training is all part of it, is we want our kids to be college ready. We have a whole SAT prep program, college program to go to school, but if not that, then a trade. What trade can you take? And we're working with unions to develop an aptitude test to get more kids exposed to the trade. And if not that, then what are we gonna do to be employment ready? So when you graduate from high school, you're employable. And that's the whole thing. We cannot think about, high school not being the end all. We need to think about what's after high school.
Mr. Lett, future goals and a little bit about your program.
Future goals is to continue expanding. We've blessed to been here for only a year and a half, and thank God that we so far have serviced 11 elementary schools and 1 high school, Central Friday Night Live. That was a collaboration with Alliance and what's the school thing? Well, anyway, the after-school program at Bridgeport. Lighthouse. Thank you, John. Lighthouse. And one day, eventually have our own, big studio where the kids could come and do the recording, and it's one-stop shop from A to Z. I mean, like I said, I traveled across the country with music. I've dealt with big-time artists, and just to give the kids exposure that I had, that I was blessed to have, and hopefully they could do it for fun, or if they want to take it to the next level, they could take it to the next level. I can actually help them with that and just continue building and everywhere in Bridgeport. Right now, we're at Hall Neighbor House. Eventually, when they figure out the Trumbull Gardens, we will be up there, and east side, west, and just bring all the services to many kids in Bridgeport that need it. And then I'm the studio guy. You want to do your album, you want to do your mixtape, you want to learn how to DJ, so forth, come to me. Dancing class, we're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lett. And Mr. Bell, future goals and a little bit about your programming.
Yes. Well, Color of Positive Thought started off with a social and emotional learning coloring book. And it just blossomed into programming and just so much community outreach for parents and and kids all across the city. During this pandemic, my program probably fed over 7,000 families in Bridgeport. We do events probably 3 times in a month that caters to 200 to 300 kids across the city. And the goal for Color of Positive Thought, and like my brother John said, is to have undeniable access to a safe place so we can do things that's going to build our youth, and not depending on if this is going to be able to, the doors are going, or we're not dependent on and having to see if the doors are going to be able to open for our youth. We need a safe place that have undeniable access when we need it. And that's our goal for Color of Positive Thought, is to have a building to be able to do some of the things that we need to be doing inside a facility.
Thank you all. We know the future of Bridgeport youth are brighter and is brighter because of the future goals that you've all just set out for us here today. Finally, our last question. If you could give yourself, or excuse me, one piece of advice to your younger self, what would that be? And I am going to start with you, Mr. Harry Bell. What would you tell young Harry?
I believe I would tell my younger self, you should have started early, boy. And yeah, I think, you know, we have to encourage our youth to start early, because, again, you never know how fast your impact can be. And just imagine if you would have started a little earlier in life, where would you be? But I'm blessed to be where I'm at today. But I would tell myself, start early, kiddo.
I love it. Mr. Lett?
Well, I'm just going to say, I would tell myself, keep going. It will happen. Do it yourself. Don't look for no help. Don't look for nobody to help you. Do it yourself. And before I go, I just want to thank you and send this shout out. Open up these centers in Bridgeport. Stop playing. All right? Bridgeport, all y'all out there, open up these centers. These kids need it. Thank you.
Mr. Torres, your younger John.
Yeah. So I would say, don't let fear stop you from achieving your goals and dreams. You know, for me, I think that if I would have learned that a lot earlier, who knows where I'd be today. But the fact is that God brought me where I'm at today to do what I'm doing, and I'm blessed for that. So thank you for having me here.
No, thank you all for being here. And as a parting gift from the Alliance, since you are all our first Alliance allies of many, we'd like to present you. And you also got to wear this like 24/7 and rep the organization everywhere you go. Nice. We're presenting you with Alliance Ally baseball caps.
Yeah, be that.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't know. You all look like you are.
Thank you for having us, Dr. Ferguson.
No, thank you for being here. And again, these are our first guests of many on this new platform called Alliance Allies. We'd like to thank our guests today for their time, their energy, and their positive information and positive thoughts, Mr. Harry Bell. We really appreciate everything you're doing in the city, sharing your future goals, your current goals. Mr. Lett, your shout out, letting folks know that you're here, you need space, and you want to do more. And that's what the Alliance is here for as well. We can bring folks together. We are here to align and become allies with all community partners so we can make a space and make it better for everyone through resources and connections. So without any further ado, we'd like to bid you all a good day and thank you for joining us for our first episode of Alliance Allies.
It's wonderful.